Finding the right healthcare partner for your business isn't easy, but Hancock Well-Being at Work can help. We're a different kind of program that combines employer clinics with a wellness strategy. And in a lot of cases, we can deliver greater health benefits at a lower cost. See why well-being for your employees is well-being for your business at HancockWellBeingAtWork.org.
The Circle of Life, West Tampa Tobacco, came across this cigar when we were, of course, Fingers and I, doing our little traveling in Vegas for the big cigar show. What's interesting here is we're about to smoke a cigar that didn't let you know what the wrapper, binder, and filler is. We do not know because they did not disclose when they came out with the cigar what it was. It's up to you to decide. But when Rick Rodriguez makes a cigar, you say, sir. Yes, sir. It's Eat, Drink, Smoke. I'm Tony Katz, and that right there is America's favorite amateur drinker, Fingers Malloy. The West Tampa comes in three different vitolas, three different sizes. Does this cigar from West Tampa Tobacco. You can do a Robusto, you can do a Gigante. We've got the Toro, a 6x54, which means it's 6 inches long. Always makes Fingers Malloy laugh. And the ring gauge is a 54. That's the diameter of the cigar or how thick it is around. Again, with the laughter. I am so stunned at how many people actually love and live and wait for the teehees.
I don't understand why you're stunned by that.
They adore the teehee. So for the people, can I get a bonus teehee? Teehee. Can I get a bonus big teehee?
Teehee.
That's.
Oh, I should have said big teehee.
I can't believe this is the show. So Rick Rodriguez is a name, and West Tampa Tobacco has come on as a brand very, very nicely. Some solid cigars are being done there. Now the question is going to be, what do we get out of this cigar when you don't start with really any expectations? Oh, sure, we've checked out some reviews and what some other people are saying, but in the end, I wanted to go in blind. I wanted to not know what it is we were going to expect. And it's kind of perfect that this is a cigar when I'm on the road and the weather's been so weird and our situation this week with the travel so weird. We're both outside. If you listen quietly, you will hear birds plotting to poop on Finger's head.
Oh, no. I've got a nice little bit of an awning over my head, completely covering me. And thank goodness I do, because it's currently 144 in central Indiana.
That is brutal. I'm actually down in Florida, and for whatever reason, the humidity is low and there's a breeze blowing. And so, Fingers, I say, that's a rough life. Let's talk about this cigar, which is a little bit oily, and I guess it feels fine, but part of me thinks it feels light. Where are you?
Oh, that's funny that you say that. Now that you say it, I can see where you would think that maybe it could be a little bit light in the hand. I would not call it a wiffle ball bat, which is what we usually call when something seems a lot lighter than it should by looking at it. But listen, we just lit this up and I've got a nice even burn, lots of pleasant smoke. You could tell it's the kind of construction that you would expect from West Tampa. Always do good sticks, in my opinion. And
that is a absolutely delicious first puff. That is not always the case for me. I one of the things that kind of drives me nuts is when people take a first puff and they're like, "Oh, that's this," or "Oh, this isn't work." You don't know anything from a first puff, but that happened to hit me beautifully. That is, there's a bit of wood on the tongue. It was a bit. I want to say leather luscious on the tongue right off the bat. Oh, excuse me. You chit chat.
Well, no, that's where I was going with this, is that I'm getting leather and wood, and that wood has actually intensified a little bit. I'm a little bit further along than you are. I'm not getting a lot of sweetness off the stick. I'm not getting much in the way of a pepper or spice, maybe a slight bit of spice, but not all that much.
Yeah, and I'm not getting there off the first couple of puffs. sometimes leather gets connected to the idea of creaming, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with Luscious because I don't get a cream or a creamy. That's not what I'm getting, and I'm very okay with that. There's a thickness, and I dig that tremendously. Maybe there's a slight of a nutty. There's definitely some wood. West Tampa, the circle of life. I gotta find out what's in here. This is
it's
right.
as guarded as the as tightly as the 11 herbs and spices.
One of those, by the way, cumin.
Oh, wow. I thought you were going to say marzipan.
It's not a spice, Fingers. This is from West Tampa Tobacco, the circle of life that we're smoking here. But that wrapper, that wrapper is beautifully done. It's got just little hints of black in it and a little bit of veining going on, Fingers. But you were talking about the weight of the cigar. As I said, I thought it was a little light. You don't think so? What do you think of the rest of the makeup?
I mean, maybe a little bit, but I really had to think about it. You know what I mean? Once you said, does this feel a little light? Then I had to put it in my hand and go, well, now that you mention it, maybe. It wasn't obvious when I picked up the stick. It just has a good hand feel to it. And I'm going to be interested to see if we get something different off of this, because, I usually like a little bit more sweetness or a little bit more pepper and spice in my cigar. And right now it's fine. But it's just more of a wood and a leather.
Yeah. And this is done, I think in the Dominican is where the cigar is coming from. And I am right now very, very happy. I will admit, I like Rick. I like Sarah, his daughter, who's a huge part of the company. Real family business there. Some of the other cigars I thought were enjoyable, and sometimes that's enough. You're not looking to be overwhelmed all the time, or just, my gosh, it's the greatest thing I've ever smoked in the history of ever. Dear Lord, I'll never look at cigars again. But this is very nicely done. This is very enjoyable. Maybe it's just the moment. When I talk about there is a cool breeze going on, like, what is the weather? As Fingers is discussing the heat, it absolutely affects palate. That's why you want to get your notebook out. What'd you eat today? What'd you drink today? What is the weather like? You see Fingers drinking his 12th cup of coffee today. And all these things affect palate. And then when you take a look at your cigar, you break it up: first third, second third, and the final third. Write notes. What are the flavors that you're getting? Then when you have the cigar a month later, 6 months later, whatever it is, you do it again. Compare the notes. You'll see the through lines. What is it that really got you in the cigar? What is it that worked for you? And then you're like, okay, that's my palate. That's what I like. That's what I got out of this. And you can then go from there. Now, it's a little bit harder when you don't know what's in the wrapper, binder, and filler. And you're like, well, how do I connect these things? But you at least know what you like and why you like it.
Do you like looking up ahead of time when you get a new cigar, one that you've never tried before? Do you like looking all that stuff up ahead of time, or do you like to just dive right in?
Yes, I don't mind knowing beforehand. I'm really cool with it, and I like it sometimes because I like comparing, especially to guys I know, like, and trust out there in cigar land who do this, I think, very, very well on the review side. But this is also fun. What is it that we're getting? What is it that we're experiencing from this? I love that. I absolutely love being able to do that. I doubt you could find anybody in pop culture lore who has been able to more connect themselves to the American flag and great American things than Hulk Hogan.
Pauly
Fingers
Shore?
Malloy? Pauly Shore? Is this your final answer? Encino Man beats Hulkamania? Is this what we're hearing?
In my world, it does.
See, Drink Smoke. I'm Tony Katz, and that right there is America's favorite amateur drinker, Fingers Malloy. Hulk Hogan is putting together Real American Beer, and that's the name of it, Real American Beer. And there's a picture of him holding the American flag. This guy, it's a cartoon kind of image. He is ripped, Fingers Malloy. He is so ripped, I have to think that you sat in to be the model for the beer can?
Well, first of all, Hulk Hogan and I like to work out together. Just a few weeks ago, we got on Venice Beach, and I pulled out my 19 centimeter pythons.
Is that what you did?
Yeah, that's what I did. And I did 3 arm curls and a burpee.
Has he ever said to you, "Let me tell you, brother"? Has he ever said that?
Let me tell you something, brother.
Oh,
No,
it's not bad.
Yeah, thanks. I got that from him while we were working out. No, he's never said that to me. But I am interested to see how the new Hulk Hogan beer will put a full Nelson on the light beer market.
By the way, you should know that it was Hulk Hogan who was practicing some taglines, and he said to Fingers, "Let me tell you something, friend." And Fingers said, "Oh, no, we're not friends. We're brothers."
It's true.
And then he looked deep into Hulk Hogan's eyes and said, "We're brothers."
Yeah.
Brothers. And Hulk Hogan, from what I am told, Fingers, you were there, openly wept and said, This is my thesis.
He did, and then I turned my back and he hit me in the back with a steel chair. And I said, "I'm stealing that, brother." It's exactly how it happened. But so we got another celebrity getting into the beer business.
Is it stick or is it going to sell? And is all of this in a response to Bud Light? Well, you just gave us the green light. If celebrities can do bourbon, they can do gin, and they can do wine, and they can do tequila, screw it. I'm doing beer. You guys let us in with your ridiculous marketing strategies. All I'm doing is taking advantage of the opportunity.
I think there's some of that also. I think you could see there are some success stories out there when it comes to celebrity beer. Troy Aikman has a light beer. Yep. And from what I've seen in the last year or two, it has expanded.
I didn't know Troy Aikman had a beer.
Yeah, I believe it was for a while there, just sold in Texas. And I want to say it's called number 8 for, his jersey number. And he launched it. 8 Elite Light Lager. I believe he launched it a couple of years ago, and it has grown. And so, you see success stories like that with famous athletes. We've seen that obviously in the spirit world and now in the beer world. So maybe Hulk Hogan has taken a page out of Troy Aikman's playbook and jumped in on the light beer market. So
17 states. That's what they're launching in 17 states. And time will tell whether or not it's worthwhile. He may be the face, but they're at least calling it a name, right? They call it a name that people are like, we don't have to question what this is about. We're absolutely virtue signaling when we're buying this beer, and we're totally cool with it. Yep. Thank you so very much.
He's planning on putting a leg drop on the competition, Tony.
Is that right?
And putting them 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the squared circle.
How are you not doing their marketing? How?
I don't. Oh, they would sell dozens of beers if I were in charge of marketing over there at the Hulk Hogan Beer Company.
Let's get you in charge of marketing over there at Pizza Hut. This is just another example of economic forces combined with changes post-COVID. Pizza Hut has shut 15 locations. They're possibly going to shut 120 more. And there's more stories involving how this is a dispute with just a franchisee. There's a group called EYM. They own and operate 142 Pizza Hut locations. Illinois, our beloved Indiana, Fingers, Georgia, South Carolina, Wisconsin, accused of defaulting on millions of dollars in payments allegedly owed to Pizza Hut by a June deadline. So Northwest Indiana, they closed 15 Pizza Huts. Now I ask the question. I am unsure as of yet as to whether this is an example of bad management by this group or the results of COVID changing how people eat, and that mixed with a lack of certain going out, a lack of a certain downtown issue, mixed with the inflation issue and cost issues, labor issues. It was just a perfect storm of being unable to survive when you are a brand that people no longer think of in the sit-down paragon.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of all of that, Tony. You bring that up, and it kind of goes back to the discussion we had about Red Lobster and some of the issues they were happening. I don't know what Pizza Hut's identity is. 25 years ago, it was like you said, you went to Pizza Hut and you sat down in the dining room. I'm not saying people didn't get takeout or delivery, but for the most part,
I totally did it. Did it with the family. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then they moved to have buffets, Pizza Hut buffets. And
but the pizza wasn't on the buffet, right? It was the salad bar. There was a salad bar. I don't remember the pizza on the buffet. That was Cece's.
Okay, you may be right about that. But so you went from we're a dine-in restaurant, and then all of a sudden COVID hits, and you definitely have to pivot. And there's so many other pizza companies out there, restaurants that are maybe a little bit more friendly to the wallet, to where Pizza Hut, the quality is there, but is that much better than some of the more discounted chains of pizza?
I think the pivot conversation actually is a little bit different, because I think it's actually the identity conversation you brought up that is probably the winner, is the top dog. What is the identity of Pizza Hut? Why do you go to Pizza Hut in a world where everybody is just buying the pizza and eating it at home? What level of going out to the pizza place outside of those Chicago style pizzerias, the Giordano kind of places? You're not doing that anymore. And so I think Pizza Hut maybe suffered from that identity crisis that you brought up. Everything I brought up, I think, is accurate. I think the identity crisis one that's probably top. If people really kind of like search, it's like, what is Pizza Hut to me? Not 20 years ago or 30 years ago, but 5 years ago.
Yeah, because you still have to maintain that building. And if you're not drawing the people in, you've got a higher cost than someone who just has a counter where people come in and pick up their pizza, or your delivery drivers go out.
Yeah.
So
I wait to see whether this shutdown is about poor management or about a coming trend in the world of Pizza Hut.
Eat, drink, smoke. It is your cigar, bourbon, foodie radio extravaganza. My name is Fingers Malloy, along with Tony Katz, who had to step out briefly. We are smoking the Circle of Life from the West Tampa Tobacco Company. And as Tony mentioned earlier, we don't know what the wrapper, binder, and filler is on this stick. It's a mystery. It's a well-kept secret, kept under lock and key, I'm told. I may be making that up, but still, we don't know. But here's what we can tell you so far. We're getting through the first third, and what I'm picking up, there's wood, there's leather, and a subtle, maybe a black pepper that's starting to pick up on this cigar. Now, Tony mentioned that it does feel a little bit light in the hand, and I really didn't notice that at first, but after he mentioned it, maybe it's just the power of suggestion that makes me feel like it's a little bit light, but really, it's not that noticeable. The construction is fantastic. This has been a very pleasant smoking experience so far. Very easy draw, lots of great, pleasant smoke coming off of this stick. I will be interested to see if we experience any changes as we move into the second third. It is the Circle of Life from the West Tampa Tobacco Company. I am really happy with this cigar so far. But it's now time for news of the week. We head over to thehill.com. As overall employee well-being declined, 1 in 4 young Americans reportedly experienced daily loneliness in 2023, a new Gallup State of the Workplace report found. The look at workplace environment and employee emotions revealed startling trends
Among the world's workers, approximately 20% of employees worldwide experience daily loneliness for a majority of the day, which could have devastating effects on physical and mental health if left unaddressed. Workers under 35 years old reported loneliness at a higher level, 22%, than their older counterparts, who polled at 19%. Now, examining some of these numbers, I'm not shocked at all from what I'm seeing when it comes to younger people, especially struggling with loneliness and mental health issues, just based on what everyone had to deal with during the COVID pandemic and the lockdowns. You had so many young people who are maybe just entering the workplace now who were in lockdown. They didn't go to class. They had virtual classrooms, and some of them, they pivoted to the workplace and they maybe worked from home, or there was just a withdrawal from society. And it, of course, when you're in your formative years and you're just entering the workforce, that has a tremendous effect on your mental health and your outlook on life. It makes you very possibly much more withdrawn. You want to be more of an introvert, because that's how society kind of conditioned you based on this period of time where people were encouraged to work from home if they were older. If they were students in high school or in college, they were possibly locked down. They did virtual classes. We talked about this last week, where younger people in the workforce they call this, the term is telephonophobia. They're not capable or not comfortable with picking up a telephone and making calls at work on a one-on-one basis, having a conversation on a one-on-one basis with colleagues. What's more, in their comfort zone is what they had to deal with, what they dealt with during the pandemic. It's not telephone calls, it's Zoom calls and Teams, whatever, Skype, whatever people are using now to have virtual meetings. So many young people are much more comfortable, if they are going to interact with others, they're doing so via Zoom and Skype and Teams. And so this isn't surprising at all. People have been encouraged to not interact face to face, not make phone calls, stay at home, have virtual meetings, communicate via Zoom. And while you're in a virtual meeting, you're probably playing a video game, which is what you really want to do instead of deal with people. So yeah, that's a recipe for isolation and loneliness. But there's something in this piece that I found very interesting. We've talked about this on Eat, Drink, Smoke, where younger people are waiting longer and longer to get married, if they're even getting married at all. And younger people today aren't having as many children as previous generations. And it's a quote from an educator from Germany who said, "If I'm not doing well at work, I'm not doing well in life. It's just the way it is." So if younger people have decided that career, that's front and center in their life, and putting off being in long-term relationships, putting off getting married, putting off having children is the way to go, well, clearly what could be happening here is, if that's what you're doing, you're putting everything into your career, but at the same time, you're not comfortable with talking to people at work on the phone. You are in virtual meetings. You are doing what you can to avoid people. That's going to lead to loneliness. That's going to lead to pouring your whole heart and soul into a career and then just going home to an empty apartment and play video games. And is there an easy out for all of this? I'm not so sure. These are troubling numbers, and this is a trend that may be very hard to reverse. You want to talk about a workplace trend that is not hard to reverse? So according to CNBC, summer Fridays are on the decline. Yeah, summer Fridays. That's when a company allows workers to take a few hours or the entire Friday off during summer months. Just 11% of North American workers say they have access to summer Fridays. That was according to a survey that was conducted in 2023. But back just in 2019, 55% of organizations that were polled offered the summer Friday benefit. And until that point, its popularity had been growing for years. So think about how radically the workplace has changed in just the last few years. You went from people being able to take a few hours, maybe even the entire Friday off in many workplaces around the country during the summer months, to all of a sudden being locked down and you're now working from home, and people thinking, oh, that's great. Now I get to stay home and work. Well, now you're getting pushback from employers who are seeing that the workload that's being done from the workforce that is staying home isn't what it was when they were going to the office. So now many companies are saying, enough with this work from home stuff. We need you back in the office. And these people are returning to work because of these return to the office mandates that companies are now imposing, to find out that not only do you have to return to work, you're also having your summer Fridays taken away from you. But don't worry, they're replacing summer Fridays with work from home Fridays, which is where these people wanted to be Monday through Thursday as well. You know, I'm sitting here and I'm trying to make light of all this, but this is serious stuff, and I can understand why people are upset. Many people thought that they were going to be able to work from home, and that was going to be the new normal. Now they're being forced, due to these return to the office mandates, to go back to work at the office. They're not going to have all that free time at home. They're not going to be able to save money by not commuting. They're going to be angry. And where are they going to share all that anger? On social media, because it's all terrible.
Eat, drink, smoke. I am Tony Katz. That right there is America's favorite amateur drinker, Fingers Malloy. Find everything at eatdrinksmokeshow.com. Smoking from West Tampa Tobacco, the circle of life. I am smoking fast, Fingers Malloy. I need to slow down. I am getting very close to that second third already. Daddy's got to take a little break. Daddy's got to slow up a little bit.
Same thing for me. And one of the things I'm really noticing about this, man, that draw is easy.
Super.
Not too easy. It's darn near perfect. And for me, I am starting to get a little bit of pepper building up. Not too much, but it's there. But again, it's that leather and wood that is really winning the day right now. How about you?
So when you say pepper, let just real quick, black, white, or red?
Or black.
I want to say, first of all, I think black as well, but it is full. Sometimes pepper hits in specific spots and has a specific punch. I feel that this is a fullness. It goes back to that whole luscious conversation with the leather. It is coating and dripping. It's in the cheek a little bit. And I'm super pleased with this cigar. Super pleased with the Circle of Life from West Tampa Tobacco right here. By the way, not a sponsor. Everyone's more than welcome to be a sponsor, but we'll always tell you if we're reviewing a cigar that was given to us to review. When we get it from the cigar show that we're at in Vegas, we always tell you, we want you to know where it is we're getting things from. And we never... we cannot be bought, ladies and gentlemen. We can be rented.
There it is.
But we cannot be bought. Allow me to talk about the story, Fingers Malloy, that all America is discussing. And you might think, is it war? And I'll say to you, oh, no. Is it taxation? No. You mean it's not the economy? Oh, no. It is the idea of 72-year-old former New England Patriots coach Bill Belichick dating a 24-year-old former cheerleader. Her name is Jordan with an O, Jordon Hudson. They have started dating. And I have a question, Fingers Malloy, or should I let you ask the question because we have not discussed this? I think you and I have the same exact question.
Which is this. Can you really care about an age gap when you're discussing love?
This is not a story. Why does anybody care?
I don't understand.
Rich guy has hot girlfriend, film at 11. This is a story as old as time. It's not a story.
Oh, but the social media outrage, Tony, as you know, I monitor this kind of thing because
is that right?
It's one of my two passions in life.
What's
the other, of course, clogging. But I love monitoring social media outrage. And of course, most of it is either coming from women who are upset or men who have their wives around who are expressing the social media outrage. And all I see over and over again is, isn't this awful? Doesn't he realize that she's just using him for money? And it's like, I guess I don't understand. What you're saying is, I guess I agree with you. He should be with someone who is much closer to his own age that's using him for his money. What? Are you serious? I would feel much more comfortable if a woman who was 65 was using him for his money. They both know what they're doing here, Tony.
Absolutely. Everybody's in on the game, and I cannot begin to care. To quote Meatballs, it just doesn't matter. And I will say this very clearly. If you are a woman who is upset that Bill Belichick is dating a 24-year-old because she's 24, you are the one with an issue. And if you are upset that you, as a 72-year-old man, could never date a 24-year-old, you should have been a professional football coach. I am not about to argue the very basic ways of the world in which there are women who want to ensure financial stability and men who are willing to fulfill that deal. Yeah. I want us to be grown-ups. And then I want to not think about it. That's all. That's it. There's no how anybody has time in their life for it. And the fact that they're putting so much time into this, especially you're a sports radio guy. Can I just say for the record that once again, the sports radio guys are desperate to be clowned themselves over and over and over. They do it when they get overtly political without having a basis of the understanding of the history of a subject. They do it in something like this if they think they have to somehow wax semantic and prove themselves to be real men, not like that Bill Belichick. Oh, stop it already. It's not a story. Whether or not Caitlin Clark is getting punched in the face on the regular and the WNBA is like, whatever. And whether they'll change the rules to protect her, that's a story worth talking about. That's worth engaging. That matters. What people are doing with the salary cap, I get that. That's good stuff for sports. Bill Belichick, with all due respect, who he is sleeping with? Not news. Not news.
Here's why they're going to break up, though, and to take 3 seconds to do some inside baseball, Tony.
Will it be the heart attack?
Yeah, check the show sheet. I just added something. Story came out as we are doing the show about Bill Belichick. Apparently, some ring video footage has been leaked to the internet of Bill Belichick doing the walk of shame shirtless out of his girlfriend's apartment. It reminded me of a young Fingers Malloy in the 90s leaving someone's house after he had way too many shots of Jägermeister at 6 o'clock in the morning.
First of all, Jägermeister. Secondly, so there's Bill Belichick shirtless walking out of this chick's house, right?
Yes.
Again, I'm asking, why do I care?
You don't care, but websites that are interested in page views care.
We're all going to hell.
They're putting it on the website so people will click and see Bill Belichick doing the walk of shame, leaving a house at 6 o'clock in the morning or whatever it is, early in the morning, shirtless. And again, the reign of judgment from around the country, around the world, Tony. People are upset about this age gap.
No, they're not. They're virtue signaling BS artists of the worst kinds, and I swear I hope they get a rash. They're just absolutely awful, low people that do not have lives of their own.
Yes.
Jealous, bitter, ugly people.
For me, this is a future Hallmark movie waiting to happen. There's so much hate and divisiveness in this world, Tony. Why is it that when we see a love story like this, why can't we all rally around it and say, my goodness, that's pure love?
It's not, because it's not pure love.
Oh,
now I'm talking about it. I don't know what it is. You are the worst. You drag me into your hell, man. You do. It's just, it's such garbage, the whole thing. I have spent more time talking about Bill Belichick than Bill Belichick has ever thought about me. That's not okay.
All I know is, I know this from reading some of his writings. His life motto is live, laugh, love.
All I know from this is that clearly Bill Belichick is not somebody suffering from Deflategate.
Oh, see, there it is.
I've been waiting for that. I had that joke the minute this story broke, and I've just been waiting my time out, Fingers.
Just in your back pocket.
Right there. That's the kind of guy I am.
Life is full of things to manage. Your work, your family, your plans, and your treatment.
Now that summer is here, you need to be drinking in a way that kind of fits the season. Now, for me, that's bourbon or rye or a stout or porter. I don't change who I am for the seasons, but being down here in Florida as I am this week, I didn't have anything I could grab. I had to take care of some family issues, and I'm at my mother's place. And being that she lives in a retirement kind of club facility, the only thing to drink here is prune juice.
Oh,
no, it's not. It's not all right. It's Eat, Drink, Smoke. I'm Tony Katz, and that right there is America's favorite amateur drinker, Fingers Malloy.
So can we dive into this a little bit? So prune juice on the nose, Tony. What are you getting?
What I'm getting is ready to run to the bathroom if I drink the prune juice is what I'm getting. Fingers Malloy is going to have to be the guy who does our drinking this week. I had to get down to Florida for some family things. I'll talk about it at a future date. Fingers decided that he's not ready to unveil his July 4th drinks. That's going to come next week. You got to tune in. We are going to have all of the July 4th drinks ready for you. Really 3, because we're not going to do them all. We're lazy. We're going to have 3 July 4th drinks that you absolutely have to have this Independence Day. But Fingers said, well, if Tony isn't going to pour a beautiful bourbon down my throat, I might as well get myself a good old-fashioned coffee milk stout. Can I give you a hand?
Thank you.
Oh, look at that. It's called Gotta Get Up to Get Down from Wiseacre Brew. Fingers Malloy, tell me about this.
Well, first of all, to hear the Gotta Get Up to Get Down, it reminds me of the old 911 as a joke by Public Enemy. Did you listen to rap and hip hop in the 90s? Get up and get down. 911 is joke in your town.
Right.
Flavor Flav.
I don't want to have to brag about how street I am.
Uh-huh.
Right? The street will do it for me. The street tells my story.
When are you writing your book on your days in the street?
I have been putting together a book called OG Not Me, That's for Suckers and Chumps. That's the That's the name of the book. Gonna come out. I think sometime in 2028.
There you go. Well, if you go over to wiseacrebrew.com, they have more information on the gotta get up to get down coffee milk stout. It says magical natural processed beans from the Conga region of Ethiopia, Tony. Lead the way for this beautiful coffee stout.
So this is a 2-row malt. It's roasted barley, rolled oats, lactose sugar. This comes in at 5% alcohol by volume, Fingers Malloy. You can also get this in a 5-gallon keg, which, you know, the new studio does not have a kegerator. I could be so convinced.
That's a great idea.
I am so convinced. But Fingers picked this without me knowing. But it does prove the idea that certainly there are summer drinks and there are winter drinks and those kinds of things. But what you like is what you like. And it doesn't matter the weather. Neither one of us is ever going to do an IPA. And why is that, Fingers Malloy?
Because IPAs are terrible.
Right.
What do you call them, Tony?
I believe I call them terrible. Look, I
call them the Tootsie Rolls of beer.
They are the Tootsie Rolls of beer. And Tootsie Rolls are what? Devil scat. That is absolutely correct. Not Tootsie Roll, not a sponsor of Eat, Drink, Smoke. Did you just happen to come across this, or were you like, I'm looking for something unique?
Well, this has actually been sitting in my refrigerator a little while. There is a nice liquor store down the road that has pretty much every microbrew known to man. And I just went through and grabbed a whole bunch of milk stouts, coffee stouts, vanilla porters, anything I get my hands on that was dark. And so this has been sitting in the refrigerator for a few months. So that's all. I just, I do what I can to find stouts at liquor stores because it is frustrating how often you go to a restaurant and a bar and they have 20 beers on tap and 18 are IPAs.
It's a killer. It's a killer. Crack it open, Fingers. There it is. Oh, God, we should have to put a parental warning next to that sound. What do you get on the nose, Fingers Malloy?
Okay, so here's what's strange is, so in their description on the website, it says that you may get hints of blueberry. This almost smells like a lager to me.
Hints of blueberry?
Yeah, because of that rare coffee bean.
Interesting.
But
that is interesting. But you like the nose. It's not.
Yeah, it's nice. It smells more like a lager. There is a hint of coffee. More than now. I'm drinking it. Listen, can I drop an honesty bomb here, Tony?
I only wish you would.
I'm drinking it straight out of the can because it is. Thank you. Normally, I would pour this in a glass and do it the proper review way. But it is 147 degrees here in central Indiana. And I'm sitting outside surrounded by nature, which is nice. But I'm not getting the breeze that you are.
Oh, it's so nice.
It's
unbelievable.
I just grabbed the can and said, to heck with it. I'm drinking it right out of the can. So,
Fingers Malloy, are you ready for this?
Oh, I've been ready for this all day.
He is doing what's called the Kentucky Chew, ladies and gentlemen. Taking that first sip, you do it with bourbon, you get an idea of what's happening. Sometimes you want to take 2 sips. The first sip to set the taste buds. The second sip to really understand the flavor. The gotta get up to get down from Wiseacre Brew, wiseacrebrew.com. The 5% alcohol by volume. This coffee milk stout, Fingers Malloy. What say you?
So it definitely is a coffee stout. It has the coffee that you would expect, and it's a bold coffee, a dark coffee. It is not light. It is very present.
So it's not coffee subtle. It's coffee forward.
Yes, it's coffee forward.
Ooh.
A little bit of maltiness, but I gotta tell you, it is.
If you're gonna burp, just burp. No, don't do it the way you do it. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you do not want to hear Fingers Malloy burp.
It's my mating call.
Lord only knows what will come running. It is, except you will run away. It's a frightening sound.
It's lighter. It's much more like a porter than a stout. It doesn't have that nitrous tab that you have in a can. That gives you that creamy foam if you were to pour it. This has much more of a porter chew to it than a stout. It's lighter, but man, is it good, Tony. And especially, I know a lot of people who are stout curious, but are not all in on stouts. They're like, man, I can't drink it on a hot day. This is one where it's a little bit lighter, and on a hot day, I could drink 6 or 8 of these and be very happy.
That is from the people over there at wiseacrebrew.com. Got to get up to get down with the lactose and, or really called milk sugar added to it. Check it out wherever it is you get your beer. And yes, you can do porters and stouts for summer. Tell them your friends, Fingers and Tony, say it's okay. Fingers Malloy, you're not going to believe me when I say this, but there are some people out there who complain about their weight.
What?
It's true. They look at themselves and they say, why aren't I losing weight?
Hard to believe.
And they say, I only eat the finest things like Sonic and Zaxby's and Wendy's and Checkers and Culver's and Dairy Queen. Why am I not losing weight? Why do I keep having this ever expanding gut and waistline?
I thought people who ate like that mostly looked like Keith Richards.
I thought that too, but it turns out they don't have a steady supply of grade A drugs and groupies to let them lose the weight. It's a vicious world for some people. It's Eat, Drink, Smoke. I'm Tony Katz, and that right there is America's favorite amateur drinker, Fingers Malloy. Before Independence Day, get our book, Let's Go Barbecue, recipes, tips, and tales from the pit, available at Amazon.com. So that way you can do the Independence meal the way it was supposed to be done. And I admit, I'm going all out. I got the grill, I have the smoker, and I'm getting my hands on the flat top, on the griddle. It is chicken, it is hot dogs, it is a brisket, it is smash burgers, a full array of veg going on to put on top, to do all sorts of things with peppers, onions, Fingers Malloy.
That takes valuable grill space away from meat.
Honestly, I just named for you chicken, hot dogs, brisket, and smash burgers, and you don't think I have enough?
You could probably throw some pork chops in there.
And pork chops. I honestly, I would love to do, I haven't done it yet. I would love to do a pork shoulder. I would love to practice with that. You want something that's odd in my life. People know that I'm Jewish. I am not kosher. My kids are. And it's like I was kosher as a young man too. And I'm curious, are they going to stick with this? This is a part of their life, and they just decided one day, and it's kind of amazing. So I absolutely cook to their needs, and it's fine. And I make amazing stuff from that. But there's some things I don't get to make for them. Right? We don't do shrimp scampi in the house. I don't get to make a pork shoulder, but I'm gonna have people over. I at least have to try it.
It's so easy.
Wait, so you've done it on the Masterbuilt, because you have a Masterbuilt gravity fed smoker. You've done the pork shoulder is easy. Why?
I mean, it is so forgiving, and it's so easy to know if you get the bone in, whether it's done or not. You can just pop that bone right out, and But it's so forgiving. I'm not as concerned with any kind of bark on the pork shoulder. Of course, that's important, as I am the brisket. I'm much more focused on that, because so many times when you serve pulled pork, all people want to do is just slather sauce all over
and
it.
And that's the point. You're then shredding that, right? Mm-hmm. See, that's just it. It is so sauce intensive. And I think that's the reason for its forgiving nature. But I think the people who are serious about their barbecue pork, I think they see a different kind of point of view there. And I don't know if it's true on pork shoulder or on pork ribs, because on a pork rib, I don't want any sauce at all. If I have to sauce a pork rib, I'm not Thank you. I'm not interested. And it's not that I won't try them, and there aren't delicious things out there, right? Different styles in different parts of the country, which you can read all about with Let's Go Barbecue, our book, Recipes, Tips, and Tales from the Pit, available on Amazon.com. But I like the dry rub because I think it requires more of the pit master to provide me a product that I visualize differently, and you eat with your eyes, right? And then to that extent, what levels of kind of crust matter. On pulled pork, I never see it that way. But you just brought up the idea of, for lack of a better word, bark on that you are searching for that.
I'm not as obsessed with it as I am on a brisket.
Understood.
Because I know it's like when you barbecue and you decide, oh, I'm going to grill a steak. And so many people are just conditioned to grab the steak sauce. It's just so many people are like that. Without even trying it. Just, I love it. Me too. And I feel like for a lot of America, when it comes to pulled pork, they're like, okay, where's the sauce? I got the pulled pork on the bun, not eating it just out of, by itself. I got to have it between two pieces of bread or on a bun. Do you have sweet sauce? Do you have hot sauce? And at that point, it's like, well, geez, maybe I don't need to obsess about bark on that as much. So I usually don't.
If you're somebody who does pork on a regular basis, let us know, man. We've got some solid recipes in the book that I'm going to use. Let's Go Barbecue. But I'd love to hear what people think. Let us know at eatdrinksmokeshow.com. Email fingers at eatdrinksmokeshow.com, and he'll share some of that here. But people who have trouble losing weight don't quite understand what they're putting into their bodies. Fingers Malloy. This was a story about the highest calorie menu items at fast food chains. And over there at Zaxby's, if you get the buffalo boneless wings and thighs, that's 1,460 calories, Fingers.
Yes.
14 for chicken tenders.
And fries. It's probably the Texas toast that comes with it. That's what really pushes it over the edge.
Which is basically thick cut white bread.
Yeah. But are people really surprised? I mean, when I go to Zaxby's or if I go to Burger King to get a double Whopper with cheese, with all the fixins where you can bite into it, you don't even have to chew. You can just tilt your head back and the burger will slide down your throat.
You had that today, didn't you?
No, I did not, unfortunately. I've been a good boy today. But I'm not going into this thinking, wow, I'm really getting a low-calorie, healthy meal here.
But I don't think people realize, like at Wendy's, the pretzel bacon pub triple. Have you had that yet?
No.
Wow. I
don't like a pretzel bun on a burger.
Oh, really?
It has to, because especially a fast food joint. If I go to a restaurant and I know that the pretzel bun is fresh, that you could bite into it and it doesn't completely destroy the patty underneath it because it's too crunchy and crispy, then I'll have it. But, if you get a stale pretzel bun, you're having a hard time biting through it, and then the patty gets destroyed while it's no good.
It is 1,530 calories at Wendy's.
For just the burger.
1,530 calories on that pretzel bun.
Oh, I gotta follow the wagon.
Shake Shack has the double down fries. Have you had the Shake Shack double down fries?
I don't think I've ever been to Shake Shack.
I don't even know how that's possible.
They don't have a drive-through window there.
You're just the worst kind of person. Crinkle cut fries topped with Shack cheese sauce, spicy cherry peppers, and an all-natural smoked Neiman Ranch bacon. 1,910 calories. Your daily calorie allotment in one order of basically weirdo poutine.
Okay, so we have to go and get those, right?
Well, yeah. I'll be back in Indiana soon enough. It's Eat, Drink, Smoke. I'm Tony Katz, and that right there is Fingers Malloy. It is your cigar bourbon foodie extravaganza. Fingers drinking from Wiseacre Brew, wiseacrebrew.com. They got to get up to get down coffee milk stout, because absolutely you can have a milk stout in summer, and he's outdoors, and it's hot in central Indiana. And could you be a happier man, Fingers Malloy?
No, well, if it were about 15 degrees cooler, I would be happier. But other than that, I am having a wonderful time here with my West Tampa cigar, the Circle of Life, and this beautiful Gotta Get Up to Get Down coffee milk stout. It's already almost gone, Tony.
Oh, really? I'm shocked.
It's a warm day, and even though I, of course, as you know, Tony, want to be a broadcast professional and not chug my drink that I am reviewing.
Go ahead. Let him just finish that up right there. That is Fingers Chug, the Fingers Chug right there, ladies and gentlemen. And L'chaim. All done. All set. Well done. You need another one? You held that in. You didn't want to share that gaseous moment with Eat Drink Smoke Nation.
It is much more carbonated, a different kind of carbonation than you would get from like a Guinness. It is much more of got a porter chew to it. That coffee, it is one of the stronger. You referred to it as coffee forward coffee stouts that I've had. It's wonderful. It's great on a nice summer day. This is not one where you have one or two or three and think, oh, I've had all the stout I can have for the day. You could keep drinking these and move on and enjoy your evening.
So now we didn't discuss, Fingers Malloy. Is this in our liquor cabinet? The Gotta Get Up to Get Down coffee milk stout. What did you pay for the Gotta Get Up to Get Down coffee milk stout from Wiseacre Brewing?
I paid $2.30 for one can.
Ooh. Well,
so I to get a 6-pack of this, Tony, which I believe
correct
is what it comes in, or that you said that 5.
You get a 5-gallon keg.
Wow. I'm gonna have to get back with you on a price.
Yeah, I could not find price either. And it's funny, we're smoking the West Tampa Tobacco Circle of Life, which comes out of the Dominican, but it does not have a blend that is disclosed. We don't know what the wrapper is, the binder, or the filler, but I do have prices here. West Tampa Tobacco, Rick Rodriguez, his daughter Sarah Rodriguez. This was done with Perez Carrillo. This is this has been a delightful smoke. I'm into the final third. I said I was going to slow down. This cigar is very much working. The spice in here is fully coating. It has mixed well with that leather and that, to me, that wood there. It is a delicious cigar that actually does leave a lingering flavor on the tongue, not necessarily in the throat. I like it. I'm clearly a fan of this above some of the other West Tampa products, and I've enjoyed those. This to me is just really hitting. It comes in 3 sizes: the Robusto, a Gigante, which is a 6x60, and this Toro that we're smoking, the 6x54. The question, Fingers Malloy, is this in your humidor for an MSRP of basically $14 a stick?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It is. This makes perfect sense. Now, I'm saying this as somebody who clearly is smoking this in 90 minutes or less, right? I have smoked this quickly, and that is the only thing that is giving me a touch of pause. I would like the cigar to slow me down a little bit. Mm-hmm. This cigar is making me actively pick up my levels of puff.
Yeah.
And that's not the everyday. But at $14, I'm at 20 in a box, by the way. This is a box. This is a box that's in the humidor.
Well, that, and you don't have anything to pair it with other than prune juice, so you're focusing more on your cigar. I'm a big fan of West Tampa. The West Tampa Red last year was in my top 3 cigars of the year. I like what they do there. I like the cigar. Would I like it to be maybe either a little bit spicier, maybe a little bit more pepper, or maybe some coffee chocolate notes, or a little bit some creamy sweetness? Yeah, that's where I normally like to play. But This is solid. The construction's great. The draw has been nice and easy. It's pairing so wonderfully with this coffee stout, which, by the way, the gotta get up to get down coffee milk stout. You can get that for a 6-pack, $9.99. It's definitely in my refrigerator.
Okay. I'm going to try it but I just got to wait till I get back. I had to come to Florida in a rush. I'll explain why at a future time, but it's time, Fingers Malloy, for news of the week.
Tony, pay television just suffered its worst quarter in history, dropping a stunning 6.9% in the first quarter of 2024.
Can I get a definition of pay television? Is that streaming or
that's
is that
streaming, cable, the whole 9 yards?
Okay, now I'm also having a bit of confusion. Is that to the idea? Well, no, I was going to say, is that to the idea that people drop their internet service? The answer is no. There's no way. They've dropped the streaming service, or they watched less.
Yeah, it says here, according to MSN.com, a few years ago, optimists in the industry thought that growing digital pay TV services like YouTube TV would help make up for the decline in conventional pay TV providers like Comcast, but that hasn't been the case. So they're including both. People are cutting the cord, and they're really not picking anything up, really not missing it, whether they are getting stuff off of the antenna or whether they're they're just going to places like Netflix or whatever just to get television shows without any kind of streaming live shows. But like Hulu plus Live TV, Fubo, and Sling also lost subscribers in the first quarter.
This is economics. Is this economics of inflation and costs, and I can't afford everything, and eggs are more important than streaming services? Or is this people looking at the number of streaming services they have, realizing they pay way more than they ever paid for cable and saying, this is just stupid. We can't do this. Okay, what's the one service we watch most? What is a possible second? Cut the rest.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And plus, there's another story that I wanted to touch on that probably goes along with this when it comes to people re-examining their own personal economics. 18 million Americans are now house poor, according to a new study. More than 18 million Americans, according to CBS News, are living in homes that stretch their budgets far beyond what's considered financially healthy.
Wait a second. Everybody who is part of Eat, Drink, Smoke Nation has literally thrown their hands up and said, but of course, absolutely. Who didn't know this was coming? Mortgage rates of 7%, people who still had to buy a house, people who are renting and are paying way more than they ever expected in rent, how car insurance has gone up, homeowners insurance has gone up, never mind the rest. You better believe that they're house poor. I believe that should be categorized, Fingers, under dud.com.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody saw that.
Because even if you are locked in on a low interest rate on your mortgage, because home values are going up so much, many people across the country are being just absolutely shocked by their property tax bills going up. And then, of course, you just mentioned it, homeowners insurance is skyrocketing around the country, which is also, if you have a mortgage and that's in your escrow, you're seeing your mortgage maybe going up $300-400 a month, and you haven't done anything other than just living your life.
It is brutal. The non-talked about things in this economy, the hidden things in this economy that isn't hidden. The vast majority of us are experiencing it, but somehow it doesn't make any news coverage. It is mental. Oh, that story, everybody, they knew it before they heard it.
We here on Eat, Drink, Smoke like to monitor social media outrage.
What's this we stuff?
We here at Eat, Drink, Smoke, meaning me, Fingers Malloy, along with my partner over there, Tony Katz, the two of us can't get enough of monitoring social media outrage. It's Eat, Drink, Smoke. I'm Fingers Malloy, along with Tony Katz. Find everything Eat, Drink, Smoke Nation over at our website, eatdrinksmokeshow.com. So this isn't necessarily so much social media outrage. so much as it is the reaction to what appears to be a new phenomenon, which there's a new term out there, Tony. I have not seen this before. Maybe you've heard of it. It's called sad fishing.
I'm out.
So right now he says he's out, but then he's also waving me on saying, oh, Fingers, please, I need to know more about sad fishing.
Because sad fishing.
Sad fishing. This is not...
Is that when you go fishing and you catch no fish? Sad fishing.
I was going to say when you go out fishing and you're listening to Tori Amos.
When you come home and you realize your goldfish is dead. Sad fishing.
That's not sad fishing, Tony. Sad fishing. By the way,
can we make Tori Amos, ladies and gentlemen? Tori Amos making the show.
Sad fishing, Tony, refers to the phenomenon on social media of posting overly emotional content online to garner sympathy or attention. Now,
go ahead. No, you go first. You go. I'll hold it.
We all know about how in the past 5 to 7 years, social media has grown, but it also has created bubbles, whether it's people who want to be in political bubbles. They've got their little friendship bubbles.
Swifties.
Yes, Swifties. That's a good example if we're going to stay out of politics. But we've said on several occasions that social media is terrible and is ruining not only the country, but the world because of the anger and these bubbles, but also things like this. Tony, you're not as much of a social media creature as I am. I notice this more on Facebook, but it is on X. People getting on social media and oversharing their woes, their troubles, because in 2024, everyone has to have some sort of feeling of they're overcoming obstacles, they're victims, they have a struggle that, you know, is unique to them, even though everybody has struggles. It's just some people just like to share them more than others.
So there's a couple of pieces in here. And I think that one that you just brought up, that people bring things up on social media because it gives them attention. There's a book called Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Nevin. And I have not yet read the entire book. My wife was reading the book, and she shared a line that I have now quoted at conferences. I've quoted this thing everywhere, and the line is about these characters are having a conversation and talking about trauma and things they've been through. But the problem that people have is that they don't overcome their trauma, find a place for it, and then move on with their lives. And the line is, and I'm paraphrasing here, so to the author, I'm not trying to say it wrong. I'm trying to make sure I get the spirit of it right. How do you overcome your trauma when it's the most interesting thing about you? That line is so outrageously powerful and so perfectly encapsulates what it is that we're seeing, that it's hard to shake, that people don't see overcoming their trauma and getting on with their lives, getting into a purpose, striving for goals. That's not it. It's to be traumatized and then to let people know you've been traumatized so you can get the what I have always referred to as reputation capital. That's the goal. That's the life. That is the existence. That's what gives you the popularity. That's what makes you a star, popular, important, or, as we've seen from all the virtue signalers, morally superior, if only for a moment. And so that is why people post these things. I don't understand it. I don't like it. I see it from people that I follow on social media. And when I see it the first time, I'm like, that's wrong. When I see it the second time, I'm like, that's over. Unfriend, delete. Goodbye. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that these things happen to you. I need you to be a grown-up. And honestly, not every little thing needs to be shared. Now, we might disagree about what the little things are, whether they're little, whether they're large, but you're not doing it to share something of value. You're doing it to get me to think that you're special. And I maybe my reaction is too over the top. Maybe my reaction isn't caring enough. But I'm uniquely sickened by this ongoing event.
For me, I look at it and it all depends on who is doing it. And obviously you see thousands of random strangers on X. So let's just focus on Facebook for a second. And if it's a type of person who doesn't normally share these type of things, that's when I take it a little bit more seriously and put a little bit more thought into what they're going through. If you've got a friend that, who doesn't share about anything about their personal life and suddenly they say, hey, I could really use your prayers, whether it's an illness or something, then it's like, okay, that's not sad fishing. That's someone who maybe believes in the power of prayer and wants a little bit of a support group. It's the people that get on social media and every day or every other day, it's almost like they're looking for some sort of social media credit, that they are going through some struggle and showing how they're persevering, and they have to show that struggle over and over again to all of their followers. That's the people who really, those are the people who really turn me off.
I've said this before. I think on this show, maybe on my other shows, the idea of prayers. The people asking for prayers, I don't know what it is. It's about the terminology. I honestly don't get it. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. If you call me as a friend, you're like, hey, I need a few minutes to talk about something. I'm all ears. You don't have to text me and say, hey, do you have a minute? You just call, right? I live in the world. I'm still living in the world where you can just call me. It's fine. Something about asking for prayers also gets to me. So I like it. It seems very disingenuous. You have explained to me that people don't mean it that way. As a matter of fact, just the opposite. How they view what that means is different than how I hear it and how I view it. But I still have not been able to shake that. It's just as a concept, just it's not pandering. I don't know what the word is. It feels disingenuous. And you're saying no.
I don't believe so, especially if you believe in the power of prayer and things like that. And you're not someone that is
constant.
5 days a week, could use your prayers about this today. And it's something like my newspaper wasn't delivered today. That kind of stuff, that's all.
People are still getting newspapers delivered.
Oh, newspapers are more popular than ever, Tony. I read it in the paper.
Drinking is Fingers Malloy. Got to get up to get down. This milk coffee stout from Wiseacre Brewing. It's $10 for the 6-pack, which I think I could go with that. 5% alcohol by volume. And from West Tampa Tobacco, the Circle of Life, which got released in Vegas at the Premium Cigar Association trade show. This is at $14 a stick, $13.99 MSRP. This is a yes. This is in my humidor. The drinks for Independence Day, we'll have those next week. This is Eat, Drink, Smoke.
Follow Eat, Drink, Smoke on social media, on Twitter at Go Eat, Drink, Smoke, on Facebook, facebook.com/Eat, Drink, Smoke, and Instagram at Eat, Drink, Smoke Podcast.